Welcome to the Your Town television program. I'm your host, Gerald Vinci, author and owner of Vinci Digital Marketing. Today I'm sitting down with Susan Faurot. She's a marriage and family therapist, certified life coach, certified hypnotherapist, and owner of Conscious Path Life Coaching. So welcome to the program, Susan.
Thanks for having me, Jerry.
Yeah. So let's just start. Let's talk a little bit about you and your business and who you help.
Well, my motto, my driving force, if you will, comes from a quote by Mary Oliver. She's a prize-winning American poet.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, the most regretful people on earth are those who felt the call to creative work, who felt their own creative power restive and uprising, and gave to it neither power or time.
That's a great quote.
It's a wonderful quote. And I serve women in their third chapter, women roughly from 50 on up.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of changes go on in that period of our lives. And women are changing roles. There's just a lot going on. And there aren't any do-overs on this. The clock's really ticking at this point.
Right.
And I'm really excited to help women essentially die without regret. You know, this is it. If you're going to do something that you want to do, now's the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty interesting. So how did you get started with life coaching and in the third chapter, essentially?
Well, I am in the third chapter myself. And the decade from 50 to 60 was especially challenging.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a therapist, a licensed therapist in California for almost 32 years now. But during my 50s, I had breast cancer, surgery, chemo, radiation. That was quite a journey. I was a caregiver for my mother. She passed in 2013. My husband was diagnosed with cancer July 2015, and he passed away October 1st of 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very quick. So I came to really be interested in resilience because I had to jump into his business, commercial sound system installations, which I know nothing about,
Right.
Become a licensed low voltage electrical contractor for a brief period of time. And I had to jump into all of that, and I did. And I found all the way through, because it was very difficult, saying, thank goodness I bounced, thank goodness I bounced. And I had a really great support system of people. And I thought, yeah, I bounce. And we have to do that all through our lives. But in that third chapter, it's really critical as to how do you manage all the things that are happening and move forward and progress and do what you want.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot to have to go through. Did you find that your experiences have kind of catapulted you towards helping others going through similar things now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I have a free Facebook group. It's a private group, closed group called Women Who Bounce. Mm-hmm. And my goal was really to create a safe place for women in their third chapter to share, and we talk about, things that are going on, making peace with gravity, and because but it's not funny.
Right.
It's really not funny. But it's creating a place for women to come in and say, oh man, those hot flashes, and oh yeah, I'm not the person I used to be, and still addressing some childhood stuff, and it's a great place we can all share. Mm-hmm. And I'm in there live all the time and sharing skills, and because resilience can be taught and it can be strengthened.
Right. What are some of the typical challenges that you help with most often?
I think it's just a really interesting shift in roles because women find empty nest. I've had a lot of clients who stayed together for the sake of the children. Yeah. Children are gone, marriages are breaking up. if they're caring for older people, you see the disabilities, you see the end of life, and you go, holy crap, that's me in 20 years. What am I going to do?
Right.
So that's it. Whatever the challenges are, I help women be resilient, show up in their lives, and be seen in whatever way is right for them.
Do you work with, you mentioned the Facebook group, so do you work with groups, or do you just work with individuals typically when you get on into a coaching scenario?
Right now I'm working with individuals. I will be putting together a webinar down the road, which will work for small group, skill building kinds of things. But these are such personal issues that ultimately, when I work with women, I create a program and we just custom design it about whatever they're working on, whatever their challenges are, what do they want to do. So help them figure that out. What do you want to do?
That was actually going to be my next question. If you had like a structured program that you put people through, or if it was something you just kind of customized to their needs.
It's tailored individually to whatever the needs are.
Yeah.
I have another quote here from Mary Oliver, and this, I love this poem. It's called A Summer's Day, and the last line of the poem says, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" And that's the question that I ask.
It's a big question.
It's a big question. So we got to look at, what do you love to do? What feeds your soul? A lot of women in the third chapter really want to start giving back. They want their lives to count for something. They want to leave a legacy. What is that? What will that look like? What will it say on your tombstone? You know, those kinds of things. How do you want to be remembered?
That's interesting. My wife and I both feel like that. Like in the last 5 years or so, we've kind of made that shift too, where we went from focusing on our careers to now focusing on how we can take what we've learned and accumulated and giving back to others. You know, so
Absolutely.
I think that probably just gets more of a feeling and more passion for that as you get older. You know.
I think so, and I think it really does take a village, no matter how old we are. It takes a village, and this is not a road, I think, that we want to necessarily travel alone, nor should we, nor can we.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we all need that, our tribe, if you will, you know, we need that support.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when somebody comes to meet with you, what's like a typical period of time that they work with you? Is there a set number of
I
sessions?
actually have an 8-session program that I encourage people to sign up for, and they have 6 months to use it, because this is a lot.
Yeah.
You're asking me to plan the rest of my life, and I have how long? So 6 months, and you know, even then we will kind of negotiate depending, because sometimes you have to dip your toe in the water and go, you know what, I thought I wanted that, but I don't want that. So it's all good, and we just work however the client needs to work.
Okay. So I was reading through some of your material, and I'm trying to remember how you said achieving outcomes. Is that the same as goal setting to you, or does that have a different meaning?
I think that we set goals to achieve an outcome.
Yeah.
So those small steps, but essentially it's whatever you imagine for yourself. I ask people to anchor it in how they'll feel when they get it. Not the actual thing or the trip or the whatever, but how will you feel when that happens? And allow that to anchor the experience for you.
Is there a process that you go through to help people achieve the outcomes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. I actually am trained for years in mindfulness and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy for anxiety and depression. So I really integrate mindfulness training and self-compassion training, because our answers are not out there. They're in here.
Sure.
And, you know, we might have spent years avoiding parts of ourselves. And it's like, it's just you. What's the worst that could happen, right? And the more you know, the more you can utilize in your own life. So that's where the mindfulness, And the self-compassion, moving out of judging yourself, is crucial. It's absolutely crucial.
Yeah, no, that's great. So when somebody reaches a desired outcome, I mean, what's the next step for them? What happens then?
Usually they're off and running.
Yeah.
I've had a couple people just fly. I've got one leaving the country, and she's going to settle somewhere else. Her dream, which she didn't even know was her dream when we started working together. And we've worked together for quite a while now. But they go, and they can always touch base and come back.
Yeah.
But they're off. They go. And they're armed with the tools to be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And what happens if they don't achieve that outcome?
Honestly, I haven't had anybody not achieve their outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, stuff happens, and then we kind of go back and revisit. Given we don't have control over anything
Sure.
that happens, so of course stuff happens, and then we just go back and revisit it and see, is this temporary? Is it permanent? Do you need to, if you're going to New York and you're in California, there are a lot of ways to get to New York. So maybe we just need to look at your map and redraw it a little differently.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe you're stuck in Colorado for a while
Yeah.
over the winter.
The shortest distance isn't always a straight line, so that makes sense.
No, and it's
Yeah.
not the most interesting either. And there's a lot to be learned. The learning is in those adverse events that happen to us. When people you're close to, when they die, you really get a sense, okay, that could be me. None of us know. We are all going to die, although some people refuse to believe it. My husband didn't believe it. And so knowing there's an end game, I better enjoy now. I better enjoy today.
Mm-hmm.
And then what am I planning for my future?
So are the principles and methodologies that you utilize, are they applicable to all groups, or do you find that you've really kind of geared this specifically for women in the third chapter?
They're applicable to all groups, and I mean, I am a therapist, so there's definitely a very hard line between doing therapy and coaching.
Yeah.
But my coaching is informed by all of my experience as a therapist, and I actually have a separate therapy gig up here as well. So I get to do all of what I love to do.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
How do you go about getting new clients right now?
Right now, it primarily word of mouth through the women that are in my Facebook group,
Mm-hmm.
who, I'll offer a free session with me, and so they can get a real taste of what it is and what I can do, what I can help them do.
Right. Okay. Are there specific types of marketing and advertising that you use that seem to be working on it? You've got a pretty nice looking website, so
Oh, thank
I was
you.
interested to see how that was working for you.
The website's working okay.
Yeah.
I have my wonderful video done by one of my colleagues and favorite people. Actually, I'm finding face-to-face marketing right now is working well for me. And because I'm so newly up here in the
Mm-hmm.
community, having moved from Southern California, it's enabled me to make friends and meet people. And so I've been really enjoying that. And that's definitely helped a lot.
Yeah, I find a lot of people are really getting into network marketing in this area, just because it's a small area and there's so many people doing different things that you don't really know everything that's out there. And even like
Exactly.
this show, the whole purpose of the show is kind of to bring that
Right.
to light,
That's how I met
Yeah.
you, which I haven't gone to that one very often. And
Right.
last night I was doing my therapy gig, so couldn't go. But yeah, and
Yeah.
I have just met the nicest, most interesting people here.
Yeah, we
So-
always say the same thing too. It's a great area. We love it.
It is.
So if what do you think the best business advice you ever received was?
Don't do it.
Yeah. No.
Probably just needing to get very clear on my vision and the people that I am working with and support, and who those people are, and then what I have to offer them. Yeah, which is, it's taken time. I've been doing this all the way along with grieving my husband's death. We were married for 34 years, together for 41 years.
Wow.
So it's been quite a change. Yeah.
And how long have you been here in Monterey?
9 months, 10 months.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
It's a beautiful area though. We moved here 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago now. So and we fell in love with it immediately. It's been
I love
amazing.
it. I have one daughter here. My eldest daughter, who's in labor as we speak.
Right now.
Right now. She and her husband are in Southern California, and then my youngest daughter is also in Southern California as well. Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, if somebody wants to learn more about you and about Conscious Path, where can they go?
They can go to my website, which is www.consciouspathinc.com. And you can find me there. I'm working on a link where people can click and get added to the Facebook group.
I was just going to ask you that. Yeah. How do
Yeah,
they get into the group? Can they find it through your Facebook page or?
They can message me or find me through the Conscious Path business page, and then I can get them into the group is called Women Who Bounce.
Okay.
And I have to. No, I think anybody can. You can't automatically join, but anybody who's a member can put somebody else in there.
Okay. And they can just do a search on Facebook to find that group. So.
Exactly. Women Who Bounce, as in resilience, and sometimes you're flat as a pancake. When your dog chews a tennis ball and it's mostly gone and it's not bouncing much, versus a brand new tennis ball. Yeah.
Right.
That's the vision I get given my dog. So.
That's funny. Real quick, do you ever work with any men?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have men, and I actually worked for one of the country's largest HMO for 8 years. And so I still have clients actually coming to me privately from there. And so I've had several men from there. Yeah, so I don't discriminate.
Right.
But definitely specialize with women in their third chapter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's great having you on the show. Thanks for coming in, Susan.
Nice to be here.
Appreciate it. So you've been watching the Your Town television program. I'm your host, Gerald Vinci. Tune in to AMP channel 27 or visit yourtown.tv. Thanks for watching.